האם זה באמת סגולה בדוקה? הסגולה ללמוד בזה?
Erev Tov, good evening. Dober V'yetcher. We are in the Zera Shimshon on Parshas Tetzei. We have done Baruch Hashem with Hashem's tremendous help and chesed. We have done all of the pieces in Parshas Tetzei previously. So this is a repeat. We're going to do section Beis, Drush Beis, part 2 over again. It might sound familiar to some of us. It might sound new to some of us. So here we go. First, we're going to look at 3 psukim from the Parsha. This is right in the beginning of Parshas Tetzei, Perek Chaf Aleph psukim Yud through Yud Beis. Tetzei la milchama al oivecha. When you will go out to war against your enemies, unisano Hashem elokecha biyadecha, and Hashem your God will give your enemy into your hand, vishavisa shivyo, and you will take captives. Next pasuk, v'ra'isa b'shivyo eshes yefas toar. If you see among the captives a beautiful woman, v'chashakta va v'lokachta lecha leisha, and you desire her. If you desire her, you may take her as a wife. V'havesa el toch beisecha, and you will bring her into your house. V'gilcha es rosha, and she should shave her head. Ve'asasa es tziparneha, and she should do her nails or make her nails. The Torah is not clear about exactly what she does to her nails. She does them, she makes them, but what exactly does that mean? So we'll see that point is actually a machlokes between Tanoim, between the great sages, the Chachamim of the Mishnah. That's coming up right at the start of this piece. But just for a moment, Eshes Yefas Tohar is one of the baffling, very unusual and strange situations in the Torah, that the Torah tells us that a Jewish man, a Jewish soldier, is allowed to take this non-Jewish captive woman as a wife, but there are specific steps to go through and a specific process to follow. And why does the Torah allow it at all? All of these things are discussed in Chazal and our sages and the Gemara and the Midrashim and the Mefarshim. But the Zera Shimshon has a different point that he wants to focus on. Os Beis, section 2, Parshas Tetzei. Perek Daled di Yevamos Daf Memches. And the 4th chapter of Masechta Yevamos on page 48 of the Gemara, Tanu Rabbana, the Gemara says, our rabbis taught, V'gilcha es rosha, and she will shave her head, V'chule, etc. She will shave her head and she will do her nails. Rabbi Eliezer says, what does it mean she will do her nails? Takotz, she will cut her nails. So this captive woman will have to cut her nails according to Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Akiva, according to Rabbi Akiva, on the other hand, tagdil. She will not cut her nails. She will allow her nails to grow out, to grow long. That's the machlokas, that's the argument between these Tanoim, these sages of the Mishnah. What exactly did the Torah mean when it said she will do her nails? It either meant to cut them or to let them grow out. Amar Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer said, Nemra asiya barosh, v'nemra asiya batziparnayim. The Torah says that this captive woman should do something with her head, and she should do something with her nails. The Torah articulated the idea that she needs to do something with her hair on her head and her nails. Just like over there regarding her head, her hair. It's removing the hair, because it says to shave her head. Here too, regarding the nails, it's to remove the nails. So Rabbi Eliezer is offering a strong support for his opinion that the woman should cut her nails, the captive woman should cut her nails, and because just like she removes her hair, she should cut her nails. Rabbi Akiva Omer, but of course Rabbi Akiva has a rejoinder, and he says, Nemra asiya barosh v'nemra asiya batziparnayim. He says, yes, you're right, Rabbi Eliezer. It does say that she should do something to the hair on her head and do something to her nails. Male halon nivul, afkan nivul. Just like over there regarding her hair, she does something that makes her look unattractive. She shaves off her hair. Afkan nivul. So too regarding the nails, she should do something that makes her look less attractive, makes her look unattractive, and that is to let the nails grow out and not be groomed nicely, but to let them grow wild, so to speak. Urayo ledivre Rabbi Eliezer. So the Gemara says we can bring a proof from Tanakh, from Navi, for the words of Rabbi Eliezer that the captive woman should cut her nails. Here's the pasuk from Sefer Shmuel Beis. Umifiboshes ben Shaul v'chulei v'lo oso ragla v'lo oso sefamo. Mephibosheth, the son of Shaul, came to David, and he had not done asa, the same word about the captive woman regarding her nails. It says he had not done his feet, and he had not done his mustache or his beard. What's happening over there is that David HaMelech is on the run from his son Avshalom, who rebelled against him. And David wasn't sure who was on his side in supporting him and who was going to support Avshalom. So Mephibosheth, the son of Shaul, and we can't forget that the house of Shaul lost the kingship when it was given over, when it was taken away from Shaul and his family and given over to David. So certainly there was reason to suspect that perhaps Shaul's son Mephibosheth would not be loyal to David, but he showed up and he said, look, I'm so loyal to you that I've been so in anguish over the fact that your son is rebelling and you're on the run. I haven't groomed myself at all. I haven't groomed my beard. I haven't groomed the nails of my feet. So what do we see? That the word asa, lo asa raglov, he didn't do his feet, means he didn't cut his toenails. And so that's a proof to Rabbi Eliezer that when the Torah says in the beginning of our parsha that the captive woman should not do her nails, it means she should not, when it says she should do her nails, it means to cut her nails. That's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Maya siya, so what does it mean when it says do? Ha'avara, it means remove. So when she does her nails, she should remove her nails. That supports Rabbi Eliezer, as we said. Ad kan, until here is a quote from the Gemara. Everything so far was a quote from the Gemara in Masechta Yevamos. Upeirush Rashi, and on that Gemara, Rashi says, Takots. What does it mean she should cut? Atzi parnaim kai. It is referring to her nails. What should she cut? She should cut her nails. Ve'afal gav delav nivulhu, and even though it's not disgusting for a woman, it's not unattractive for a woman to cut her nails, gezeras hakosav hi, it's a decree of the Torah that this is what the captive woman should do, even though we would not normally think that having her cut her nails would make her so unattractive. The Torah says that's what she needs to do. She needs to shave off her hair and she needs to cut her nails, again, according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. Ad kan Lishono, until here is a quote from Rashi. Continuing in the next paragraph, Kule alma makshim, the whole world asks a question on Rashi. Kule alma makshim al perish Rashi. The whole world asked a question on Rashi's comment. Atzi parnaim koi. Rashi said when it said she should cut, it was referring to her nails. What does that come to teach us? We know that when Rabbi Eliezer said takots she should cut, it meant she should cut her nails, because the Torah clearly said she should shave off her hair. But regarding her nails, the Torah used a little bit of a unclear phrase. We weren't sure what it means she should do or she should make her nails. So Rabbi Eliezer said takot, she should cut them, obviously referring to her nails. So why did Rashi need to say it's referring to the nails? That doesn't teach us anything that wasn't obvious to us before. Apparently, of course, the Zera Shimshon is going to explain to us what's going on. Next paragraph. V'yesh lomar, and we can say, Dechavonos Rashi l'soretz. Rashi's intention is to answer a question, a problem. Dibishlama leRebbi Akiva nicha. Everything is good according to Rabbi Akiva's opinion. There, we're going to see now, the Zera Shimshon is going to show us how there's something that fits really well according to Rabbi Akiva, but is a problem to Rabbi Eliezer. Dishane kra b'dibure. The Torah changed its wording. V'kosa v'gilcha es rosha. And it said she should shave her hair, but it didn't say cut off her nails. It used a different word. It used the word changed its language and used the word she should do her nails. Lefi shehem mishunim b'masim zeh mizeh. Why did the Torah do that according to Rabbi Akiva? Because what she does to her hair, i.e., she shaves it off, is different than what she does to her nails, which is she lets them grow. It's actually the opposite. So since the Torah wanted to say she does two very different things to her hair and her nails, it changed the word that it used. Regarding the hair, it said v'gilcha, she shaved it off. Regarding her nails, however, it said v'osta, she did her nails, changing its language because she does different things to her nails than she did to her hair. Makes perfect sense. Ela Rabbi Eliezer kosher. But if you're analyzing the Gemara the way the Zera Shimshon does, there's an obvious question on Rabbi Eliezer. The imke devarov, if the Torah's intention was what he said, namely that the woman should shave off her hair and cut her nails, hoyololomar, then the Torah should have said ve'osta es rosha ve'osta es tziparneha, and she does her head and she does her nails. It should have used the same word, the same verb regarding her hair and her nails, because she's cutting off both her hair and her nails. It should have used the same word, according to Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Continuing top of the next column. So why didn't it do that? V'tzorech lomar. We need to say, in order to understand things, the Torah's wording according to Rabbi Eliezer, we need to say, De'ilu kosav hachi, if the Torah had written it this way, she should do her head and do her nails. Hayumakom litos v'lomar, there would have been room to make a mistake and to say incorrectly, deva'osta tziparneha, when it says she should do her nails, it means to let them grow. And according to Rabbi Eliezer, would be a terrible mistake. That's what Rabbi Akiva thinks she should do, but Rabbi Eliezer insists that she has to cut her nails. But we might think it means to let her nails grow. Mikoach hasvara, from the strength of the following reasoning. Sheroinu shehichmir aleha hakosav kedei lenavla. We see when the Torah says she has to shave off her hair, that the Torah is being very strict with her and making her do an action that makes her look unattractive. Right? That's what the Torah tells us. So we would think, oh, therefore she has to let her nails grow out, which is unattractive. Because if the Torah's intention had in fact been to cut, that she should cut her nails, which of course Rabbi Eliezer thinks that is the Torah's intention, then the Torah could have said that in a shorter form, and she will do her head and her nails. Kulo kechad, all as one thing. Umidilo arvinhu, from the fact that the Torah did not combine the two things, and it said, and she should do her head, and she should do her nails. This is hypothetical. That's not actually what it said. But according to this line of reasoning, it could have said that. Hayinu omrim, we would say, Sheva rosha kidiise, v'hai kidiise. When it says she should do her head, it means according to a way that will make her head less attractive, meaning she cuts off her hair. V'hai kidiise. And then when it says she should do her nails, that's how to make herself less attractive with her nails, kidei lenavlo, which means to let them grow out in order to make herself less attractive. So in a little bit of a long way or an intricate way, the Zera Shimshon explains that there's a problem on the Gemara on Rabbi Eliezer's viewpoint because the Torah changes its wording even though it means the same thing, right? And it could have said, do her hair and do her nails, and both meaning cut off. But that would have possibly led to a mistake, so it didn't say that. However, according to everything we just said in the previous paragraph, we really do have a different question. Why, in fact, did the Torah not say she should do her head and do her nails? Once the Zera Shimshon pointed out that the Torah could have said that, and perhaps should have said that, and that would have made things clear. What should she do? She should do her head and her nails, meaning cut off her hair and cut off her nails. Why didn't the Torah say that? Kulu kachada. It would have been able to use the same word and shorten the pasuk and put everything it wanted to say in one little shorter, concise sentence. Pasuk. L'das Rabbi Eliezer, why didn't it say that? The kulhu dina beha'avaru uktzitza, because both regarding the hair and the nails of this captive woman, it's talking about removing and cutting off. So why didn't the Torah, in fact, say she should do her head and her nails? And rather than say that, and in both cases mean cut off her hair and cut off her nails, instead the Torah chose to change its wording, and say she should shave her head and do her nails. And by the change in wording, the Torah seems to be inclining to Rabbi Akiva's viewpoint that she's doing two different things to her hair and her nails. She's cutting off her hair, but she's letting her nails grow. But according to Rabbi Eliezer, why did the Torah change its wording regarding her hair and her nails? Next paragraph. The Yesh Lomar, and we can say, Dimimanov Shach, no matter either way, no matter how you set things up, how you shnei dvarim desasre ahadode, you're going to have a contradiction between the two things. Bein ladas Rabbi Eliezer, bein ladas Rabbi Akiva. Whether you follow the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer or the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, you're going to have a contradiction. She'im nefarish gidul legabe Tetzei parnayim, because if we explain that she is supposed to let her nails grow, which of course is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, kedei sheyiyah hakol derech nivul, in order that everything she does should make her less attractive, she she shaves off her hair and she lets her nails grow out. Both we all concede both of those things make her look less attractive. We're obviously talking about letting the nails grow to an unseemly length. Im kain, if so, ve'osta legabe harosh mashma giluach uketzitza. If so, then the word osta used the Torah had used the word ve'osta regarding the head, it would imply cutting. Ulegabe atzi parnayim, but regarding the nails, gidul, it would imply, it would denote removing them. It would denote letting them grow, according to Rabbi Akiva. So that would be the problem, according to Rabbi Akiva, of the if it said osta regarding both. Again, we're following a hypothetical line of reasoning that the Torah could have and should have, if it wanted to be more concise, say she should do her head and her nails. But then the problem, according to Rabbi Akiva, would be it's using the same word to mean two different things. And if we explain following Rabbi Eliezer's viewpoint that when the Torah says she should do, it means to cut and remove, both cutting her hair and cutting her nails, whether it's talking about the hair or the nails, halo barosh mashmanivu. When it comes to the head, shaving off her hair makes her look less attractive. Uvatzi parnayim. And when it comes to the nails, cutting off her nails, aino nivul. That doesn't make her look particularly unattractive. Illinois, in some ways, it makes her look prettier. It makes her to have nice trimmed nails, can look nicer. Umishum hachi, and because of this, kosav, the Torah says, v'gilcha barosh v'osta b'tzi parnayim. It says, and she should shave regarding her head, and she should do her nails, because the Torah, if it had said our hypothetical, concise, short, seemingly clear statement of she should do her head and her nails, we definitely would have had a problem. Bein Rabbi Akiva, bein Rabbi Eliezer, whichever viewpoint you follow, you're going to have a problem if the Torah had said that. Next paragraph. V'zehu sheperish Rashi takotz. And this is what Rashi meant when he made the comment she should cut atzi parnayim koi. It's referring to her nails. Shebehechreach shel Rabbi Eliezer, because Rabbi Eliezer is compelled to say, Hainu lefi shahatorah rotzta. This is because the Torah wanted lahaniach ha ve'osta behade tziparnayim dafka. The Torah wanted to use the word she should do specifically regarding her nails. Shehi hatzivoy v'hapoal shel haktzitza, because that word is the word that refers to cutting and removing, as we saw in the pasuk in Sefer Shmuel regarding Mephibosheth. What did it mean? He didn't do his feet, his nails of his feet, and he didn't do his beard. It means he didn't cut them. So since that's how we see the word is used, the Torah wanted to use that word specifically regarding the woman's nails. La'ashma'inam chidusha, to teach us a new idea, that even though having the captive woman cut her nails doesn't make her less attractive, particularly, it's a decree of the Torah that she should cut her nails. So Zera Shimshon has his own chiddush here. His chiddush is that when we look at Rashi, we should not make the mistake of thinking that Rashi's comment of cutting is referring to the nails is referring to Rabbi Eliezer's statement, that when he said the word takots, he was saying she should cut her nails, because that's obvious that that's what he was saying. Rather, Rashi is saying the Torah used the word ve'osta, and that's what clued off. That's what supported or gave the clue, the hint to Rabbi Eliezer by using the word ve'osta, which he knows means to cut. From our friend Mephibosheth in Sefer Shmuel, he knows that means to cut. So he's thinking, why did the Torah specifically use the word to cut? Ve'osta, it must be in order to give us to show us, to teach us that even though that doesn't make her less attractive according to our standards, our usual way of looking at things, nonetheless, it's a gezeirus hakosov. The Torah says the captive woman has to cut her nails. She shaves her hair and she cuts her nails according to Rabbi Eliezer's viewpoint. And because that is not intuitively obvious, that's not what we would think of as a way to make her less attractive. Nonetheless, it's a gezeirus hakosov, and that's what she needs to do. That's what she has to be required to do. But according to Rabbi Akiva, he learns the psukim differently, and he feels that she cuts off her hair, and when it says she does her nails, she lets them grow out, because according to Rabbi Akiva, the consistency is not in her actions. The consistency is in the goal of her actions, the objective of her actions, which is to make her look less attractive, and therefore she has to do two different actions to look less attractive. She has to shave off her hair, and she has to let her nails, on the other hand, grow out to the point where they look unattractive. Yasher koch for joining in the learning of the Zera Shimshon this week. We look forward, Be'ezus Hashem, with Hashem's help, to learning together again next week in the Zera Shimshon on next week's parsha.